For some companies, scaling up is the go-to playbook. But the bigger question is it right for you? Running a fast-growing company isn't just hard, it's risky. Growth brings complexity, chaos, and the risk of breaking what once worked. That's where scaling up comes in. Some CEOs swear it gave them the structure to scale fast and smart. Others find it overwhelming or too rigid and with too much process for their company culture. In my own CEO coaching practice, I've seen both sides of the debate. So, is scaling up the ultimate growth system or simply too much for too many businesses? And how does it stack up against other frameworks like EOS or even simply creating your own systems and processes? Let's break it down. Hi, I'm RJ, the CEO coach. I'm a 6-time venture and private equity backed CEO. Over my career, I've been coached to great success, and now I help other CEOs unlock even higher levels of performance and growth. In the past year alone, I worked with over 50 CEOs, and scaling up comes up very often. Some are already running their companies on scaling up, others are evaluating if it's the right fit. And some have blended scaling up with other systems like EOS or the 30-day CEO Playbook. So in this video, let's break down what exactly is scaling up, how does it work, and most importantly, is it the right system to help your company scale and succeed? Okay, what is scaling up? Scaling up was originally called the Rockefeller Habits. It was a comprehensive business operating framework created by Verne Harnish. Known as the growth guy, Verne Harnish founded the world-renowned Entrepreneurs Organization and has worked with thousands of business leaders across the globe. His mission with scaling up is pretty straightforward: help fast-growing companies scale without breaking. Published in his best-selling book, Scaling Up: How Few Companies Make It and Why the Rest Don't, Harnish introduced practical, battle-tested tools that leadership teams can use to navigate the challenges of growth. The framework focuses on 4 critical decision areas that every company must master to grow successfully: people, strategy, execution, and cash. Scaling up takes a more strategic and metrics-driven approach than simpler systems. It's a real favorite of ambitious companies aiming for market leadership, international expansion, or private equity level type discipline. At its core, scaling up helps companies build strong and accountable leadership teams, define and refine strategic positioning, align daily operations to strategy, and maintain financial discipline to avoid running out of cash while scaling. More than a meeting rhythm, scaling up is a holistic management playbook for companies serious about rapid and controlled growth. All right, what are the 4 key areas of scaling up? Let's take a closer look. The first one is people. Growth companies live and die by talent. If you don't have the right people in the right roles, scaling becomes impossible. Scaling up emphasizes accountability through clear roles, KPI ownership, and regular check-ins. Tools like the function accountability chart and employee feedback loops ensure the organization is healthy, aligned, and running on all cylinders. Culture is also paramount. Verne Harnish often discusses the power of aligning a team around shared values and the necessity of hiring and retaining people who are not just capable, but also aligned with the organization's core values. Here's a case study. A fast-growing SaaS company had strong sales but rising turnover. By using Scaling Up's people tools to clarify roles and improve employee feedback, they cut churn by 50% and built a stronger culture in just 12 months. Next comes strategy. Scaling without strategy is dangerous. Scaling Up encourages leadership teams to define their core values, their purpose, their brand promises, and the BHAG, the big, hairy, audacious goal. I love that, the BHAG. Strategic clarity drives alignment, decision-making, and market differentiation. The one-page strategic plan, or the OPSP, is one of the signature tools of scaling up, condensing vision, goals, and key initiatives into a single document. This plan becomes a compass for the leadership team and is updated quarterly to stay relevant and actionable. In another case, a regional service company struggled to stand out in a crowded market. By using Scaling Up's strategic framework, they were able to redefine their brand promise and start targeting a new niche. Revenue grew 40% within 18 months. Next up is execution. This is where most growth plans falter. Scaling Up insists on discipline, setting clear quarterly priorities, driving accountability, and using meeting rhythms. Daily huddles, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annual meetings. These rituals create consistency and keep teams aligned and moving fast. The use of critical numbers is also a key differentiator. By focusing on a handful of numbers that define success, companies avoid drowning in data and stay focused on what matters most. One e-commerce company hit a plateau. By adopting Scaling Up's execution disciplines, they increased on-time projects by 70% and hit record revenue. The fourth area of focus with Scaling Up is cash. Fast-growing companies, they eat cash. Growth eats cash. Scaling Up provides tools to help companies monitor cash flow, shorten cash conversion cycles, and ensure they don't grow themselves into a cash crisis. One important practice Harnish recommends is calculating and regularly reviewing the cash conversion cycle. This allows companies to free up cash from operations and fuel growth sustainably. One manufacturing company grew fast but faced all kinds of liquidity issues. Scaling Up helped them analyze their cash conversion cycle and improve receivables, saving the company during a critical growth phase. Now, let's talk about the importance of habits and accountability. Scaling Up isn't just about tools, it's also about habits. Remember, the book Scaling Up was based on the Rockefeller habits. Harnish stresses that success comes from consistent execution, not one-time flexes. The framework teaches companies to embed habits like daily huddles and scorecards so that strategy and execution stay aligned day after day. Verne Harnish often says, routines set you free. While entrepreneurs and teams may resist process early on, those who stick with Scaling Up usually find that the discipline actually creates freedom. When everyone is aligned and accountable, the CEO can focus on big picture thinking, not micromanaging. Now let's talk about implementation. Scaling Up is often implemented with the help of a certified Scaling Up coach, though many companies also can self-implement using the book and the tools that come along with it. Implementation focuses on building habits, rhythms, and strategic clarity across the leadership team first, and then cascading down to the organization. Full rollout can take anywhere from 12 to 24 months, but produces noticeable improvements very quickly. In one global services company with offices across 4 continents, they use Scaling Up to unify their regional teams under common language and execution rhythm. Over 2 years, that company improved margins, grew its global footprint, and reduced costly miscommunications. Now, let's talk about the reality of customization. Not every company adopts Scaling Up fully. Some use the whole framework, others focus on pieces like the meeting rhythms or BHAGs. Many blend Scaling Up with other systems, some will even do it with EOS, or customize their own methods for a hybrid approach that fits their own unique style and culture. One VC-backed tech startup adopted only the meeting rhythms and people tools from Scaling Up while using EOS for operational discipline. This hybrid approach gave them the speed they needed while maintaining structure and clarity. Now, before we dive into the pros and cons of Scaling Up, it's helpful to quickly look at a couple of the other systems for context. I'm not going to do a deep dive here, I'm just giving you a quick snapshot so that you can compare Scaling Up against some of the other popular frameworks like EOS and the 30-day CEO Playbook. And if you'd like a more detailed breakdown of these systems in future videos, just let me know in the comments below. All right, let's talk about Scaling Up versus EOS first. Scaling Up and EOS are two of the most widely used business operating systems for small to medium-sized companies, and they're often compared side by side. While they share a common goal of helping leaderships align, execute, and scale, the philosophies and approaches behind them are actually quite different. EOS, or the Entrepreneurial Operating System, is built to be streamlined and accessible, but it's far from effortless. It introduces a clear and structured approach designed to be implemented even without a professional coach. EOS focuses primarily at the leadership team level, emphasizing organizational alignment through tools like the Vision Traction Organizer, ROCs, Level 10 meetings, and scorecards. While EOS aims to simplify how companies set direction and execute, in practice, many teams find that adopting its language and rhythms requires a real commitment and a cultural change. For founder-led businesses navigating early-stage chaos, EOS can provide a much-needed clarity, and alignment, but only if the team fully embraces the process and stays disciplined. On the other hand, scaling up takes a broader and more strategic view. It's designed to not only create organizational alignment and execution discipline, but also help companies scale rapidly and compete at a higher level. Scaling up goes deeper in areas like market positioning, competitive differentiation, cash management, and longer-term strategic planning. While EOS focuses largely on weekly and quarterly rhythms to drive day-to-day operational excellence, scaling up challenges leaders to connect short-term execution with medium and long-term strategic goals. Tools like the one-page strategic plan, brand promise, and cash conversion cycle are specifically designed while building market strength and sustainable growth over time. For many companies, the choice comes down to where are they in their journey. Early stage or more execution challenged companies often gravitate towards EOS. Its simplicity helps them get organized, disciplined, and align quickly. Mid-sized or rapid scaling companies with complex growth ambitions tend to prefer scaling up. Its strategic depth and financial rigor make it ideal for organizations aiming to dominate their category or expand globally. In practice, some companies use both. Some start with EOS to create foundation discipline and then graduate to scaling up as they mature and require a more robust playbook for strategic and financial growth. At the end of the day, scaling up and EOS are really speaking the same language, just with different accents. Scaling up might sound Australian and EOS more British. Same core ideas, but each uses its own words, quirks, and style. I speak American English, so I get both. But if you're new to them, expect small differences in how they talk about priorities, meetings, and execution. Still, at their core, they're more alike than they are different. They're both built to bring structure, clarity, and momentum to growing businesses. Now, let's talk about scaling up versus the 30-day CEO Playbook. While scaling up and EOS are often compared to company-wide operating systems, the 30-day CEO Playbook is in a whole category of its own. It serves a very different purpose. The 30-day CEO Playbook is specifically for rapid personal leverage for CEOs themselves. It's about helping the CEOs themselves take back control of their time, eliminate distractions, optimize meetings, and focus on the highest value priorities. Within just 1 month, CEOs using this playbook typically free up hours per day, create more space to think strategically, and become far more intentional about how they lead. In contrast, scaling up takes a broader, longer-term view. It's about building organization-wide muscle with strategic clarity. While the 30-day CEO Playbook helps the CEO personally become a more effective right now, scaling up helps the entire company become scalable, sustainable, and aligned for growth over months and years. In practice, these two systems actually are very complementary to each other. The 30-day CEO Playbook addresses a CEO's personal bandwidth and leadership effectiveness, helps them step out of the day-to-day weeds and start thinking and leading at a higher level. It's less of a company operating system and more of an incredibly fast exercise to immediately increase revenue, reduce costs, and then help plan for their eventual exit. On the other hand, scaling up provides the framework for company-wide alignment, strategic planning, and execution rhythms, ensuring that the whole organization is rowing in the same direction once the CEO has set the course. Case in point, many CEOs I coach implement the 30-day CEO Playbook first. This gives them the breathing room and the clarity they need. Once they're freed from reactive firefighting, some may introduce scaling up to drive structured execution, strategic alignment, and disciplined growth across the entire company. Others believe the 30-day CEO Playbook gives them enough from a strategy and execution standpoint. So while these two systems solve for different layers of leadership and business performance, they are not mutually exclusive. In fact, together they can be a powerful combination, giving CEOs personal leverage and their companies the structure needed to scale effectively. Okay, now that we've looked at both EOS and the 30-day CEO Playbook, let's turn the spotlight back to scaling up and tackle the big question. What are the pros and cons? And is this really the right fit for you and your company? Scaling up is incredibly powerful, but it's not for everybody. So what are the pros? First off, it's very strategic and comprehensive. Second, it's proven with scaling in high growth companies. And third, it brings clarity and accountability and rigor. The cons well, it can feel heavy or complex for smaller companies. It requires discipline and commitment from the entire team. Sometimes it often needs a coach to help implement it effectively. So, what's the conclusion? Scaling up isn't just a framework. It's a toolkit for serious growth. By focusing on people, strategy, execution, and cash, it helps companies align, scale, and avoid the pitfalls that kill fast-growing businesses. That said, it's not for every company. For some, EOS or lighter weight systems might be better. For others, combining scaling up with the 30-day CEO Playbook creates a powerful combination. Lastly, if you're a CEO looking to scale faster and lead more effectively, I work with leaders running on scaling up, EOS, and of course, the 30-day CEO Playbook, which complements both operating systems. I offer one-on-one coaching as well as group coaching through the 30-day CEO Mastermind. Whatever framework you use, my focus is simple: help you unlock higher performance, drive clarity, and create momentum in your business. If you found this breakdown valuable, please make sure to like and subscribe for more deep dives on business frameworks, CEO strategies, and scaling your company the smart way. Hit that like button and drop a comment below if you've implemented scaling up or are thinking about it. We'd love to hear your story. Thanks for watching. Now it's on to you. Go make it happen.